Hey guys, I'm about to talk about consumer debt. The reason that you are in the situation that you are in, and what's that situation? The situation is the reason why you are constantly struggling, fighting, and clawing, trying to make a living for yourself is because you have consumer debt, right? What are some examples of consumer debt? Examples of consumer debt is a house, right? You get a mortgage, right? When you get a mortgage on a home, you're taking on consumer debt because you're a customer that's buying a home, right? So that is a loan for 30 years. 30 years. That's consumer debt. Now you're struggling. You're trying to pay on your interest payments, right? You're stressed out. You have built up anxiety, right? Boat. People have boat loans. People take out loans for boats, right? That's consumer debt, right? Car. People get auto loans every single day, right? That's consumer debt. Credit cards. Credit cards is another consumer debt, but it don't have to be consumer debt because people don't know how to use credit cards. You can use a credit card just like a line of credit if you know how to use a credit card. But everybody is not educated on how to use a credit card. But if you get with Timbo Banking, we will show you how to really use your credit card. And if you can't get accepted for a line of credit, we lean on credit cards and we use that credit card as a line of credit until you get your credit score up to get a line of credit, right? But credit cards is a a debt to a consumer, which is a customer, because they use the credit card for the wrong reasons, with bad intentions, with the wrong mindset. Credit cards is not something to like play with. And that's the notion that we have. Um, why is it why people why you Nikhil, why you saying play with? Because 90% of Americans right now have some form of debt, of consumer debt. 90% of Americans. So that means everybody in your neighborhood has some form of debt. Everybody in your neighborhood got some form of debt right now. Somebody, not somebody, but everybody in your school has debt. Everybody on your job has debt, right? Everybody that's in your friend circle has debt. Maybe most of them. If it's 10 people, nine have debt. You see that? That's huge. If there's 10 people in a group, 9 of you guys have debt off the rip. Like no negotiating, right? If it's 3 of you guys, right? More than likely all 3 of y'all have debt. At least 2. So credit card debt is the silent killer of consumer debt because people are using credit cards the wrong way. You're supposed to use a credit card as if it's a line of credit, right? You're supposed to use a credit card as we say it's not a credit card, it's an expense card, right? We pay for our expenses, right? And we use it like a line of credit where we put the money in and take the credit out and constantly put money in, take credit out, put money in, take credit out, like a line of credit. Line of credit, right? You put money in, you take money out. You put money in, you take money out. So credit card debt is a very important item on consumer debt because it can be your best friend, right? It can be your best friend, but it's not your best friend because you're not using it as your best friend. It goes from being your best friend potentially to actually being your worst enemy, to the point where now you want it, you put it out all the time to swipe it, to the point now you done hit the limit, right? You done hit the limit on it. Now you're avoiding it. You don't even want to pull it out your purse. You only want to pull it out your wallet. You scared of every time you see it, you just look away from it. So it went from your best friend to your worst enemy because you used it the wrong way. You abused the card to the point where you don't even want the card in your wallet. And then now you have this healthy debt, right? So you have this healthy debt that you have to pay, and you don't want to pay it. And the only thing you're doing is paying minimum interest payments towards it, which does really nothing for you because you still can't really use the card because the card is literally at its peak, is at its limit. So you can't use it for anything. You're just making minimum payments to keep your credit as clean as possible. But that's just not enough, because truth be told, when you make minimum payments, right? When you make minimum payments towards a credit card, those minimum payments are getting split up like the bank. Remember I told you how the bank split up your interest payments and it goes interest and principal. They're doing the same thing with credit cards. It's going interest principal. Why you think it takes so long to pay off your credit card when you got it at the limit and you just paying minimum payments, right? So they always playing a game within the game. The bank's gonna always make sure they win. Y'all gotta understand that. The banks will always make sure they win. So stop thinking that these banks are your best friends. They are not. That's why I encourage my clients to go to credit unions. Am I saying credit unions are best friends? No, but credit unions definitely offer more consumer type items to help the consumer more than a bank does. A bank doesn't offer nothing to help the consumer. It only offers things to help the bank. That's what I'm trying to get you guys to understand. So consumer debt is serious. So especially with credit cards, it's a silent killer. It's like you don't see it. It's almost invisible, but you don't see it. But you know, I'm bringing it to our attention now because it's really important, and we need to have our antennas up to learn how to really use a credit card. And I'm gonna make more videos of talking about how to use a credit card. But right now, it's just letting y'all know, like, y'all using credit cards wrong, and this is not how to use a credit card. So it's good to just, I'm taking my time with these videos. Um, Bear with me, I'm just getting my YouTube channel up. So I'm constantly just pouring out content as time see fit by the permission of my Lord and Savior. Consumer loan is student loans. Student loan is a consumer debt as well. Um, but I also understand at the same time, I understand that you're trying to get through school, your parents doing the best that they could to get you through school, and you're just doing what you got to do to get by, to get your education, which is completely understandable. But student loan is definitely a killer down the line, right? So I encourage my uh, my clients, if they have student loans, we attacking them. I know the government try to make you, let you, defer your loans. Me personally, I never had a, a student loan, but I know the government like really like, offer a lot of forgiveness for student loans, and they just want you to keep pushing it back and keep pushing it back. The reason why they want you to keep pushing it back because it's incurring interest, right? So if you had a $20,000 loan, right, and that's all you took out, and let's say you never paid it, right, because you kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. The longer you put it off, the more extra interest on the side you incur for that student loan. So uh, the student loan is $20,000, right? But now it took you 10 years to pay off it took you 10 years to pay off the student loan, right? When you go pay that loan, it's gonna be your $20,000 debt plus the extra incurred interest that you have to pay for as well for when you wasn't paying the payments or wasn't paying on the loan from the time on, right? So that's why they constantly push it back and constantly push it back because of that reason. It benefits the bank, of course. Personal loans. Personal loans, people get personal loans for personal reasons. Um, and that's a consumer debt. So when you get a personal loan, you're getting it for a personal reason, obviously. Maybe you got some things going on in your life. But I mean, you have the right idea, but wrong vehicle, right? Wrong vehicle. This is a bad vehicle. Personal loan is a bad vehicle. You might as well get a personal line of credit to defeat a personal loan, right? And a personal loan interest, they slaughter you in interest, um, because they know 9 times out of 10 you might not pay it back. So they're gonna hike up the interest rate on your personal loan. So if you borrow $5,000 on a personal loan, this is just an example. If you borrow $5,000 on a personal loan, by the end of it, you're gonna pay triple. You're gonna pay triple. You're gonna end up paying $15,000 for a $5,000 loan, and then they're gonna do it so sweetly. They're gonna extend it. They're gonna extend the life of the loan so far out that you're not even gonna be able to notice. You're not gonna be able to notice that you just paid $15,000 for a $5,000 loan. You know, so the whole time you thinking, oh, I only have to pay $13.15. This is just an example. I only have to pay $13.15 for my $5,000 loan that I took out. But that $13.15 is over the next 8 years, right? So by the time that you truly pay it off, right? By the time that you truly pay off the personal loan, you would have been paid $15,000. They're going to triple it on you because if you default, right? Let's say if you default on the loan, if you default on your personal loan, then it's just going to go on your credit history. Then now your credit history is going to tank. Your credit score is going to tank. It's going to take a big decline, and you ain't gonna be able to go nowhere else to get a loan, right? So they're pushing you. They're putting you between a rock and a hard place, and it's all a setup for them to win. That doesn't sound like a friend. A friend doesn't do that, right? So if you default on any of these loans, you put yourself in risk of repossession. That's why we get personal lines of credit. Personal lines of credit help us uh, acquire, the things that we need and the things that we want, right? The right way, right? The right way. It's okay to have these things, but it's how you get those things. It's okay to have a car, but how did you get the car, right? It's okay to have a house, but how did you get the house? With a house, you could get a HELOC, right? Home equity line of credit. With a car, right? You could pay it straight cash, right? You could pay it straight cash, or you can wait till you save up enough money, right, to get a car. Don't get a loan to get a car, right, and then get a lot of credit to try to pay it, try to pay it off to save yourself interest. Because either way it go, you're gonna pay. Either way it go, you're gonna pay interest. It's like how long you gonna pay interest. So don't lock yourself up inside of a loan because you know you can free yourself out. You don't want to do that because different situations, different circumstances, anything can happen. It's called life. A boat, same thing with a boat. If you ain't got the cash, you don't supposed to have a boat, right? If you already got a boat, that's different, right? If you already got a car, that's different. If you already got a house, that's different. We're gonna convert that stuff into a personal line of credit. And we're gonna attack the loan with a personal line of credit. With a house, if you already got a mortgage, it's okay. We're gonna convert that mortgage into a HELOC, right? We're gonna convert it into a HELOC. So that's different. And when you get a HELOC, that's a whole different ball game, right? That's like a whole different ball game. Um, uh, with a credit card, you already know what you're getting. You already know what you're getting yourself into. My suggestion for a credit card is get a credit card with high limits with lowest interest. That's my advice. Simple, right? But the thing of it is, like I told you, credit cards are our best friend. You just gotta learn how to use a credit card. So I just wanted to dive in on consumer debt and make a simple video about what's really going on and why is it that our people, when I say our people, I'm talking about everybody, all nations of people, why we are struggling in America when it comes to acquiring the things that we need, like houses and cars and stuff like that. So uh, that's all that I have for this video. Stay safe, be blessed.